A very big box to unbox this time. This is from TwoTrees. It's their new TS2 20-watt laser. This is a laser with a few differences to the usual ones, which I'll come into later, but everything very well packaged and labelled. There's a little bit more to the assembly for this laser than most of the lasers, but it's relatively straightforward, just takes a little bit longer. Here I'm attaching the motorised Z-axis. This is the main big difference with this laser. And then fixing the 20-watt laser unit. X-axis stepper motor just being installed. And then a bit of cable management. Very good cable management. Took a little bit of sussing out how to attach it all. But you got these sort of drag chain holders for the cables and tubes. This is a cheap air pump I got off Amazon, which I'm using for air assist. And TwoTrees also sent me this honeycomb bed, which is an optional extra with this laser, but I would highly recommend it. Really nice quality. It's got these little hold down buttons, and underneath it's got this stainless steel or aluminium base plate. And this is a really good design because it protects your work surface and it provides good airflow underneath. You'll get very nice clean cuts. Much better than just having it on a metal plate. Here's some laser ply. Just fixing this down. Into light burn. Here we are. I've got the TS2 laser engraver, and then we click on console and you can see engrave here in the macros. So you click on engrave and this will set the laser at the correct height using that little probe there. Always wear your safety glasses, really essential. And here we go. My dice test burn that I do. You can see this looks a bit high here. There's rather a lot of stray light coming out. So I wasn't sure if this was right or not, but it's working away. And there's the finished burn. I don't know if you can tell from this, but they're quite wide burn lines. You can see that's a single pass, but it produces quite a big black line, and they're not all cut through properly. This usually means that your laser isn't focused correctly on the workpiece. So we need to look at why that is. Anyway, on this particular laser, this gap here between your workpiece and the bottom of the laser housing should be 5mm when you're engraving. So I reset the height of the laser. I'll explain a bit more how to do this at the end of the video. But you take the laser off the Z-axis mount, focus it for engrave level, then remount the laser having the correct gap. You may need to remove the little height restriction tab on the back of the laser. So here it is all reset. I'm going to try and do the same burn again. And that's looking a lot better. All cut out. Just removing those little hold down tabs. And they're lovely clean cuts, perfect little cube this time. Spot on. So just check your laser if you get one, make sure that height is correct. Now we're going to try out some of the different bits of media that they sent with the laser. So we've got a key ring in wood and a stainless steel tag. What I'm doing here is just burning an outline of each on a piece of scrap laser ply. This helps you frame up your burn when you're engraving individual objects. So you can see there's a circle and a rectangle. Just doing a little test burn for the engraving, just to make sure we are still all lined up correctly. Yeah, and that's looking good. I didn't complete the burn, just did a little test burn at the bottom there. Let's do the wooden keyring first. This is some sort of hardwood, looks a bit like beech. So next job is to focus. So raise up the laser manually, position the probe over the thing you're going to be engraving, and then hit the engrave button on light burn, and that will set the laser at the correct height. Here you can see it, just adjusting itself. Home it, that way the framing will be correct. Just checking the framing, and then we can start the burn. I haven't got this in a housing here, so I sort of blocked it off as best I can. Wearing safety glasses. I've got windows and doors open and there's quite a breeze blowing to get rid of all the smoke. But there you go, that came out absolutely perfectly. Really crisp engraving, really good. Might as well do the other side while I'm at it. So just turn it over and rinse and repeat. Just make sure I'm getting it lined up properly. Then it's time to try something else. Once that one's done, I then got this stainless steel tag. Usually I paint these black before doing it, but with a 20-watt laser you don't always need to. Just be careful because you do get a lot of reflected laser beam off anything shiny like this. Same process, focusing again. This is thinner this time, so the laser will be set at a lower height. Home the laser, this maintains the framing. Checking the framing, and then we hit engrave. A little bit slower burn for this one. And it's looking good. Give you a closer look. And there we are. That's a proper permanent engraving on there. Really nice job. Very pleased with that. Well, thank you very much to TwoTrees for sending me their TS2 20-watt laser. I've finished assessing it, so here are my thoughts. There's some good things and some not so good things, but generally really, really good. What I like about this laser is that it's a different design. The active Z-axis is something you don't generally see. The layout of the rollers on the extrusions is different, and it all makes for a very rigid structure. I like that it's big because you can put bigger things under it, cut out more pieces, larger pieces. It's very rigid, lovely rigid frame. It's got a nice weight to it. The laser is very powerful. The cable management is very, very good with the drag chain system that it's got to keep all the tubing and cables neat. That is excellent. A couple of things that aren't quite so good. It's slightly more complicated to build, but really if you're into this sort of tech you're going to manage it no problem. It's just a little bit more involved, the build is. The other thing, the only issue I had was with the focusing of the laser. The Z-axis, if you've got light burn, you can use this active Z-axis. You go into the console section and there's a series of macros that you use, and one of them says engrave. When you hit that engrave, the active Z-axis uses its probe to set it at the correct height. Now when I first did this, the burn line was way too wide and I realised that it was not focused and it was too high. The distance that it should be for engraving is 5mm away from the workpiece. That's the bottom of the laser to the workpiece should be 5mm. If your laser is not that, when you set it up, then you might need to change the height of the laser. Take the laser off the Z-axis mounting plate. Use the macros on Lightburn to set the Z-axis mount to the engrave height, then remount the laser so that there's the 5mm gap. Use the little grub screws to set it at this height, and then it will be fine, and it will set itself at the correct height using all the other macro settings for 2mm cut, 3mm cut, engrave, etc. Once you've set it up, absolutely fine. Mine could have just been a one-off. I suspect all the other ones will be fine. The other slight downside, which I've already listed as an upside, is the size of it. Yes, it's big, it's got a very large footprint, and it won't fit in most standard laser housings, so you might have to custom build a laser housing. And I would strongly recommend that you do this. I think that laser housings are essential for safety. They stop any stray bounced laser beam or anything like that injuring anyone's eyes. They also contain the fumes and the smoke, and all the laser enclosures should have some sort of fume extraction system on them. But all in all, a really good laser, very powerful as you'd expect from a 20-watt unit, and it performed very, very well. Anyway, I shall be back soon with some more videos. Bye for now. Many thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the links in the video description. Bye for now.
More rubbish coming soon.